Yo, welcome back to Cage Calculated. Today, we've got UFC Abu Dhabi. We've got Ankalaev versus Guskov. Originally was supposed to be Ankalaev versus Roundtree. Roundtree had to pull out. Probably got a little nervous about the big Ank. You know, it happens to the best of us. And Guskov steps in on short notice. This will be in Abu Dhabi. Starts at 8 a.m. for those of you in the States. So, at least we don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. It's not great that we have to wake up at 8, but it is what it is. It's not the worst card ever. Like, there are some decent fights, and I'll talk about them as I see them, but, it's not as good as the OKC card, in my opinion. There could be some fun fights on here. We'll see. Going to last week, we went 11 of 12 in our predictions. We just missed one fight. I believe Levi Rodriguez got knocked out by Felipe Franco, so we missed that one. But besides that, we got every single fight right. We finished top 100 in Tapology. Unbelievable run. I think Tristan went 10 and 12, so 10 out of 12. So you love to see it. Great job from the boys. Good showing. I feel like the fights went pretty well and it went exactly how we kind of thought they were. Most of them did at least. And we'll see if we can do the same thing here. So without further ado, we will jump into the prelims with Abdul Hussein versus Cody Gibson. Hussein, not to be confused with Saddam. Hopefully he doesn't get buried like Saddam. But Abdul Hussein is making his UFC debut. Let's look at some of the tail of the tape. He is a heavy favorite in this one from Finland, apparently. But making his UFC debut, he did lose to Muhammad Makayev way back when in unanimous decision. But besides that, he is very, very good. Knockout here, submission here, knockout here, submission here, knockout here. Very great finishing ability. 8-fight win streak going into this one. He is an immense submission threat, an immense knockout threat. 65% of his fights end in the first round. He looks like a pretty good prospect going into his UFC debut. Cody Gibson, there's a definite ceiling with the guy. Lost to Ulrika Lang by knockout. Lost to Damone Blackshear by Kimura. Lost this fight. Brad Kelleher, Miles Johns. I mean, it's not great, but, he hasn't won a fight in a year and 8 months. It's a good start for Abdul Hussein. I think he will likely get this one done, and I'm going to go by a submission. I'm going to go by a ninja choke in round 1. I think his ability to submit his opponents is very immense, and if you look at it, we get a knockout here, submission here, knockout here, submission here, knockout here. That means there's a submission up next. I'm not saying that this is cage calculated material, but hey, if we notice a pattern, we're going to stick with it. We're going to think he gets it done. Cody Gibson, decent striking, I guess. He does have a height advantage in this one. He does fight of extreme couture, so he does have a decent gym around him, but I'm not super confident in his ability, especially now. He's just, those two losses, Ulrika Lang and Damone Blackshear, just aren't great. He's 38 years old. There's a ceiling with this guy. I don't know, if his ceiling is higher or if his ceiling is lower than Abdul Hussein's floor, but at the same point, I'm going to go with the guy who has the home crowd on his back. He's got all of this momentum going to this fight. We'll go with Abdul Hussein. Up next, we have Nurullo Aliyev versus Mike Davis, and I'm going to be real with y'all. I hate Nurullo Aliyev. This is why. Let's look at his last fight. Shamrock, decision. Shamrock was cut, by the way. Joe Selecki, decision. Rafael Alves, a majority decision. Josh Wick, a KO. Maybe got it done. A decision here. Dude's a decision merchant. Every single one of his UFC fights outside of his Dana White Contender Series fight has been a decision, and it has been a very close fight. This Shamrock fight was pretty close. I know it says unanimous. Shamrock made that a close fight. There is definitely something about this guy that makes me dislike him. I think he fights a very conservative fight. I think that he doesn't fight to try and get a finish. I think he fights to just get the points, get what's necessary, and move on to the next fight. Very well coached, I guess you could say, but at the same point, dude, we're here to watch finishes and we're here to watch exciting moments. You getting a 29-28 decision isn't going to want to make me get up at 8:30 in the morning to watch you fight. Mike Davis, on the other hand, is coming off a knockout win versus Mitch Ramirez, who just recently lost last weekend. Did lose to Fareziam, who's a pretty good prospect in the lightweight division. And then we have Nathan Levy. He won by arm triangle choke, a decision, and a decision. So pretty good wins, I think, for Mike Davis. He shows some finishing ability. I know that he's an underdog, but just slightly. I am going to go Mike Davis by TKO in round 3. I think Nurullo Aliyev is going to point fight. I think he's going to go for some serious takedowns. He really doesn't have any weaknesses defensively, and that's something that you're going to notice during this fight. Very low absorption rate in the strikes. Very good takedown defense. He doesn't really struggle that badly anywhere within MMA, but he just doesn't go after a win. And Mike Davis does, and I think Mike Davis will have an opportunity to get some knockdowns in this one, and if he can go for a finish, I think that Mike Davis has a likely ability to get a finish off of a knockdown or off of a takedown. Like there's opportunities for Mike Davis is kind of what I'm getting at. I'm going to go Mike Davis, again, knockout in the third round. I think that he wears out Nurullo Alaev. Alaev maybe goes up 2 rounds, and then you see Mike Davis really have to unload and go for a finish, and Nurullo Alaev gets caught. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't necessarily think that it's likely because, Alaev is still undefeated. So trust me here, I can't cheer for someone who doesn't go for the win, and I think it's a matter of time. The sport does reward people who go for finishes, and I'm going to go Mike Davis. You can see only 20% of people are agreeing with me. We'll see if that happens, but I just cannot stand the kid, and I want to see him lose. So that's the reality of it. Up next, we have Brenson Ribeiro versus Magomed Tuchalov. Brenson Ribeiro, 3 straight losses going to this one, losing to a monster in Abdul Rahman Yakayev in his last fight, Umar Sy, who is a decent prospect, and Azamat Mirzakhanov, who is undefeated at this moment in time and was a top 10 fighter in the division, and then, won a fight versus DR Ngozi and Keo Machado. So Brenson Ribeiro, very big physically, 6'3", 81-inch reach, but man, Magomed Tuchalov, 6'5". We don't have a reach listed, but he looks like a monster. He fights in UAE, 100% finish rate. He is his UFC debut, and I believe he's going to have a reach advantage just based on his height. He's 6'5". We can kind of assume that, but very immense power advantage. He has a huge frame. I think Brenson Ribeiro's time is done. It scares me with the finishes, man. And I know that these are good fighters, but the finishes scare me. I don't know if Brenson Ribeiro has much left in the tank, and he is incredibly chinny at this point. 93% of people are going with Tuchalov. I'm not going to overthink this one. Let's go Tuchalov by knockout in the first round. I think you're going to see Brenson Ribeiro get tagged for a second, then go for a flurry, try and get some momentum back, and Tuchalov catches him. I really do think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to go right hook. We'll see, but Brenson Ribeiro, he's still, kind of young. Like, he's only 29 years old, but man, he's just taken so much damage over the years. I just don't trust him at this point. I'll go with the home crowd kid, with Magomed Tuchalov with the knockout. Up next, a fight that I'm pretty excited about. Ismail Bonfim, brother of Gabriel Bonfim, versus Axel Sola, who was on my prospect list earlier this year. Pretty interesting fight. Axel Sola lost a close decision versus Mason Jones, and that was a banger fight. Go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. Both really went after it. Mason Jones had some really great moments, but Axel Sola had some serious moments too. He had a lot of power, a lot of just tenacity, and he's a good prospect for a reason. Ismail Bonfim lost to Chris Padilla, and he lost to Nazim Sadikov, who just did recently lose. So those are not bad losses. Chris Padilla is not great, but he could realistically get a win. He's beaten Terrence McKinney. Let's not get too overeager on not thinking Ismail Bonfim could realistically get a win. Fought Benoit Saint-Denis. I can't imagine that went well. But man, Ismail Bonfim, he is going into this fight with a pretty high absorption rate. He takes a lot of shots, but he is a very great jiu-jitsu fighter. He's very dangerous on the ground, and I think that's where his advantage will lie. If this fight goes to the ground, he does have submission threats out the ass. I think he could really threaten in a lot of different situations. But Axel Sola, that fight versus Mason Jones made me a believer. Yes, he lost, but he's still incredibly impressive. His power is super solid, has a height advantage in this one, has a reach advantage in this one. I think both of these guys have their flaws, but Axel Sola has the power advantage, and I think if this fight stays on the feet, like it likely will, I think Axel Sola will get it done. I think he'll get some knockdowns. I think the combinations will be crisp. I think that he's already been in a war, which is great for his experience in the UFC, only having 2 fights so far. I'm going to go Axel Sola winning this one by a decision. I think Ismail Bonfim has good enough defense on the feet, and I think he will go for some takedowns and smudge up Axel Sola for at least a round to disrupt the game plan of Axel Sola enough to make it difficult for Sola to really try and go after serious 3-4 punch combinations, adding in kicks. I think you're going to see Axel Sola really look for 1s and 2s, straight rights, back him up against the cage, try and get some body work in. Not necessarily point fight, because I think he will look for finishing shots in some instances, but I don't think that Axel Sola is going to be incredibly aggressive just because of the threat of Ismail Bonfim on the ground. And, the dude, again, has elite jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to go Axel Sola by a decision for that reason. I think that if there was a finish, it's going to be Ismail Bonfim by a submission or Axel Sola by a knockout. Up next, another pretty interesting fight. We've got Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Sam Patterson. Santiago Ponzinibbio, fun fact, beat Sean Strickland way back when. I think in 2015. This is when Sean Strickland was, frame mogging people. Yeah, he beat Sean Strickland. That's unbelievable. He also beat Mike Perry at some given instance. So what this dude's story is unbelievable. The Argentine Dagger, sick name, but not so great recently. Lost to Daniel Rodriguez. Carlston Harris, he did get a knockout win versus Carlston Harris, who was recently cut. Lost to Muslim Salikov, lost to Kevin Holland, and then won by knockout against Alex Morono. So he has ability, I'll say that. Like, he has some dog in him. I mean, he's beaten some decent names, but it's past his prime, dude. I mean, he's 39, almost 40 years old at this point. Sam Patterson lost his recent fight, lost it to MVP, incredibly boring fight. MVP sitting there obviously at range, beckoning, saying, oh, we need to fight, but yet not doing anything. I am beginning to really dislike Michael Venom Page. Christian Leroy Duncan, you're on that list as well. Both of you guys are so incredibly boring to watch, and there is no aura left in either of these two. But a win versus Trey Waters, Danny Barlow, Kiefer Crosby, and you have a win versus Johan Lanasi. He has a lot of finishing wins, and I think this is a layup for him. You're getting a guy who is an older fighter. He's on a pretty bad run late in his UFC career. He does fight out of American Top Team. He's well-trained, but I just don't think Sam Patterson is going to lose this one because of how great his finishing ability is. I think he just lost a really boring fight to MVP, and that just happens to the best of us. I think Sam Patterson will get this one done. I'm going to go by a submission. I think that Santiago Ponzinibbio does have some submission threats, but Sam Patterson's frame is so much fun to watch. He utilizes it so well. He can frame off when he's getting taken down. He can really jab and look for his strikes at a distance. Leg kicks are there at every given moment. And I think he's going to try and get a knockdown, try and push Santiago Ponzinibbio up against the fence, shoot a takedown, take the back, get a rear naked choke, get this one done in one. And, Sam Patterson, this is a layup for you. And I think a lot of people see it. I mean, a lot of people are saying by knockout. I think that that's very possible, too. I think Sam Patterson has some serious knockout power. But I'm going to go be a little different. We're going to try and see something that maybe is or isn't there. We'll go by a submission in round one. Up next, Dustin Jacoby versus Mohamed Saeed. Dustin Jacoby. This is a short notice fight. I cannot remember for the life of me who Dustin Jacoby was supposed to fight in the first place, but Mohamed Saeed will be his opponent in this one. 3 straight fight wins for Dustin Jacoby. Julius Walker earlier this year, Bruno Lopez, and Vitor Petrino before he moved up to heavyweight. Pretty good wins. I mean, lost to Dominic Reyes and lost to Alonzo Menafield, who are both top 15 light heavyweights in the division currently. So, Dustin Jacoby, if you don't know his fight style, he is one of the guys who is a perfect gatekeeper for the light heavyweight division. His fight style is a lot of boxing, a lot of leg kicks, and he has immense power. You can get through him by getting into some later rounds. His cardio isn't elite. It's not bad, but it's not elite. So if you can get him in some later rounds, he will give you opportunities to get a finish. And if you are a serious prospect, he will likely get beat by you. But like Julius Walker was a great prospect on my list at the beginning of the year and got beat by knockout. And a lot of these guys, I mean, Bruno Lopez, solid prospect. Vitor Petrino, I mean, at light heavyweight, he wasn't great, but at heavyweight now, he's a solid prospect. So, I mean, Dustin Jacoby can beat some guys who aren't ready for it. And I think for a guy making his debut in Mohamed Saeed, this is his UFC debut, and this is a very tough draw. Yes, Dustin Jacoby is older, but he does have a reach and height advantage. Likely, we don't know the reach of Mohamed Saeed through Tapology. Hate to see that, but we can go through some of the stuff that we've seen. I mean, a knockout here, a decision here, a knockout here, a knockout. I mean, he has power, but Dustin Jacoby's fought guys like this before, and I'm going to trust that Dustin Jacoby can get it done once again and be the gatekeeper that he chooses to be. Again, if Mohamed Saeed was fighting like a Julius Walker, I'd feel a lot more confident. But Dustin Jacoby is a gatekeeper for a reason. I'm going to go Dustin Jacoby winning by knockout, and I will go in the second round. I think that you're going to see some fun flurries in the first round. Dustin Jacoby, maybe gets backed up a couple times. Mohamed Saeed's trying to get a finish early because, he's in front of his home crowd. He wants to try and really show his skill set off, but I think that he gets tired, and this is a really good UFC veteran. I think Dustin Jacoby takes it into the second round and then gets him with that left hook that he is so elite and so known for. I'm going to go Dustin Jacoby winning this one out of Factory X Muay Thai MMA. He's just the perfect gatekeeper. I mean, genuinely, you could not have scripted a better gatekeeper than Dustin Jacoby. And if you ask me who would be the most elite gatekeeper, likely Dustin Jacoby is top 3 on my list at the minimum. Moving into the main fight on the prelim card, we've got Walter Walker versus Thomas Peterson. Interesting fight. Walter Walker said on Instagram he's no longer going for heel hooks. I'm not buying it. Walter Walker, that is your bread and butter. That's what works. Why go away from it? If it does stop, if you don't have an opportunity to do it, then don't do it. But like, if you're good at it, you can get the win through that. And Thomas Peterson, even though he'll look like a big fat blob, he is incredibly well in shape. He can fight all 3 rounds. He has good boxing. He has really good leg kicks. And he did get a win versus Guilherme Pat, who, in fairness, isn't elite in the heavyweight division. But, he's a big, monstrous, specimen of a man. And he got a majority decision out of that. Did lose to Vitor Petrino. Had a win versus Dontel Mays. Knocked out by Shamil Gaziev and beat Muhammad Usman. But solid wins and losses. I'm not really discrediting Thomas Peterson, but he isn't bad. And I think that you're going to see that he has some capabilities to win this fight. A lot of people are picking Walter Walker, and that's for good reason. I'm going to choose that as well. And I know, Mr. Heel hook, heel hook, heel hook, heel hook, unanimous decision, loss, but I'm going to go Walter Walker by submission. I think he does it again. I just think he has another opportunity to heel hook him again, and I think he's going to try and do it. I'm going to go submission round 2. I think Thomas Peterson has a decent first round. People are kind of surprised on how well he looks. I know he's just a plus 230, but I think he's going to fight at probably a plus 150 in this fight, and then he's going to really start to struggle and wear down in that round 2. Walter Walker has pretty good cardio, and he's just a giant. I mean, 6'6", 78-inch reach versus a 6'1" height and 74-inch reach. I think Thomas Peterson's just going to get out athletic here, and I think Walter Walker will take him down and eventually, go for the old funny joke of heel hook. So, moving into the main card, we have Abukar Vagayev versus Sagid. Izagakamayev. I hope I pronounced that right. I feel like that's pretty good. I'm not bad at pronouncing fight names, by the way. I feel like I'm not the worst at it. So if I can't pronounce your name, then it's really difficult. But nonetheless, Abukar Vagayev making his UFC debut, and Izagakamayev is making his second UFC appearance, losing to Nicholas Dalby by a split decision 7 months ago. Vagayev, Sagid, why this is a main card fight, I could not tell you. I mean, Vagayev, he's a decision machine. You can see split decision, lost by knockout, just unanimous decision. I just don't get why this guy is on the main card. He's a decision merchant, and he may be 24-4, but I don't want to see someone who's going to make decisions happen on the main card. At least put Walter Walker on the main card. At least there's a draw there. I just don't know what we're doing. There's not much stats on him, obviously, because he's never made a UFC fight before, but he beat Michel Pereira way back when, so if you want to talk about that, recently cut Michel Pereira. Also, Bam Bam Tuivasa, 7-fight losing streak, and we're going to cut Michel Pereira? Are we dead ass? Man, this company sometimes, man. No offense to Bam Bam, but good God, dude. I mean, enough's enough at a certain point. We're going to cut, Michel Pereira, who arguably is a decent draw in the UFC. Sagid, again, like I said, lost to Nicholas Dalby, does have some knockout power and submission ability. I really wanted to convince myself to go Sagid, but I just don't think that his ability on the ground is that good. He got subbed by Carlston Harris. I mean, he's okay, I guess, but they're both just kind of Muslim bots, in my opinion, that they put on the main card for some god-awful reason. I'm going to go Vagayev by a decision. Shocker, I don't really want to talk about it anymore. Moving into the next fight on the main card, we have Rizvan Kuniev versus Tyrell Fortune. Interesting fight at heavyweight. Tyrell Fortune had a fantastic UFC debut. I mean, if you want to call it that. He had solid cardio, and that's what I remember about it. Beat a, pretty solid top 10 heavyweight in Marcin Tybura pretty, decisively, a unanimous decision. And I think he won that fight through and through. And he did fight in, PFL and a couple of different promotions since then. But he has some ability, and I know he's a little bit older. But I'm excited to see what this guy could do, and I think there's a chance that he gets this one done. But Rizvan Kuniev, I want to talk about this fight for a second. If you watch this fight, you are likely owed damages by the UFC. My eyes were bleeding by the end of this fight. Both of these guys blobbed out. Jailton Almeida, I'm pretty sure, snuck into the UFC and managed to, somehow get a fight. Was cut after this fight. So shout out Jailton Almeida, was top top 5 or at least 8 in the division and was cut like pretty significantly quickly after losing that fight. Jailton Almeida, I cannot put into words how much that fight sucked, but lost a split decision versus Curtis Blades. Why are they pushing this guy so much? Like, does he have some like Epstein files type shit on Dana White? Like, I don't get why this guy is so elite. I think he's overrated, in my opinion. I think he's a bit overrated. I mean, he had a great finish in his Dana White Contender Series fight, but like, I'm not a believer in this guy. I don't think that he's that good. I know a lot of people think he's going to win, but like, I don't know out there, man. I'm going to go Kuniev by decision. I think Tyrell Fortune could knock him out. I hope he does. I hope he wins by a decision. I think Tyrell Fortune is a lot more of a draw than Rizvan Kuniev. I think that he's a fraud, and I think he's going to get fraud checked inevitably at some point. But we got to do what we got to do. We'll see what happens, but I'll go Kuniev by decision, I guess. I don't really care. Up next, the moment we have all been waiting for. Damian Rizbeki versus Magomed Zainakov, a.k.a. Chanko, a.k.a. John Pork. No, he not John Pork, guys. He go by Chanko. Chanko, he no John Pork. No, he's John Pork. Ring, ring, ring. He's calling, and I think he's going to have a great showing in this fight. Yes, Damian Rizbeki is 10-0. But, man, he hasn't fought in the UFC yet, and he hasn't fought someone to the extent of Chanko. John Pork will have a great showing in this one. I think a lot of people agree with that decision. I think that his Dana White Contender Series fight was a great showcase on how great his striking is. He is the striking spar partner with Islam Makhachev. So I think that this guy's going to have a great showing. I think he's really going to show that there are levels to this striking ability. Rizbeki, I would pick him if he wasn't fighting John Pork. I mean, that's the reality of this situation. The Butcher, dope nickname, and I do hope that he has a good showing and has another chance to fight in the UFC after this. But man, John Pork, 235 significant strikes in his previous fight. In a 3-round fight, 235 significant strikes. Volume out the ass, cardio out the ass. He has good striking defense, good takedown defense. I think he's going to have plot armor going for him in this fight. I'm going to go decision for Chanko, for John Pork. Let's go for that. I'm excited for that fight, man. That's going to be a good one. Moving into the featured fight of the night, we've got Islam Dulatov versus Wellington Turman. Islam Dulatov, part-time model and a really fun prospect in this division. He is so much fun to watch. Incredible power. I mean, knockout of Adam Fugit. I mean, recently cut, but who cares? Knockout there, knockout here, submission win here, submission. I mean, the dude is a monster. I'm excited to see what Islam Dulatov does in this fight. Wellington Turman, 3-fight losing streak. I don't want to hate because, like, he's a fighter and he has, fans maybe. But it's over, buddy. Islam Dulatov is that good. This is a human sacrifice. You got a height advantage and a reach advantage for Islam Dulatov. Like, what were they thinking in this matchmaking? Like, I know Islam Dulatov hasn't fought in about a year. I get it. He fights once every, year, it feels like. But at the same point, the dude is so good. I think he's ready for at least someone better than Wellington Turman, the prodigy. Good God. Islam Dulatov, round 1 knockout. Like, it's not really that deep. Like, he's going to win this fight. Islam Dulatov's a monster. The Ripper. He's so cool. I'm going to... Official prediction, Islam Dulatov by frame mog. That's what he's going to do. Oh, my God, dude. Got to stop watching Instagram Reels. Oh, jeez. Co-main event time. We've got Astro Boy Steve Erceg versus Ramazan Temirov. Interesting fight. I think Temirov has a really good shot at winning this one. Erceg, veteran at this point of the division. Lost to Pantoja in the title fight challenge. Lost to Kai Kara-France. Lost to Brandon Moreno in a UD. But has hopped back on his horse, beating Ode Osborne 11 months ago by a decision and beating Tim Elliott earlier this year by decision. And he's been very active. And the last time we saw Ramazan Temirov was a year and 4 months ago against Charles Johnson. Yes, it was a unanimous decision win, but I'm not impressed with these other wins. I'm just going to be honest with you. He has knockout power. He has finishing ability. He can get this one done. But I don't think that layover is really going to help him in this one. Erceg has been incredibly active. He has a height advantage in this one. He has a reach advantage in this one. Yes, he doesn't necessarily have elite power. He does have some power, but he's not elite anymore. I think Steve Erceg is going to really outflow Ramazan Temirov, really get his boxing going, really start trying to push the takedowns. I think he's just going to have a great fight. I think he's going to have a great showing. I'm going to go unanimous decision. It could be a split decision. You could see Temirov getting a knockdown in a round and, taking the round from Steve Erceg. But Steve Erceg has been incredibly active. He does what he needs to do. I believe that this win streak is him getting back on the horse. I think he's going to get this one done in a great showing. I'm going to go Steve Erceg by decision, likely a 29-28 decision win. Main event time. Magomed Ankalaev versus Bogdan Guskov. Again, originally supposed to fight Khalil Roundtree, but Bogdan Guskov, stepping up on short notice, was originally supposed to fight Jan Blachowicz. In their rematch, they drew in the first fight a while back. And then, he's knocked out a lot of opponents, man. Zach Puaga, Ryan Spann, Billy Elikana by submission, Nikita Krylov. This dude is known as the hitman for a reason. He has immense knockout power. He does have a serious finishing threat. And I do think that his straight right is one of the most dangerous in the division. And if he gets in a good spot, he could, I don't really want to say he could realistically finish this fight. Magomed Ankalaev has fought like Alex Pereira. Let's not get it twisted. But at the same point, he has power to finish fights. And yes, Ankalaev is coming off a loss. Obviously lost to Alex Pereira. That was one of the greatest moments of any MMA fan's life. We no longer had to watch the big Ank hold the belt after beating Alex Pereira. But, beating Alexander Rakic, beating Johnny Walker, drew against, and Johnny Walker one time. But nonetheless, Magomed Ankalaev is, yes, one of the most boring, non-personality fighters of all time, but Magomed Ankalaev is starting to kind of grow on me, man. I do think that he'll get this one done. I think he's going to get a realistic decision. Maybe a 50-45, maybe a 49-46 decision. I'm not going to overthink this one that much, and I'm really not going to break it down too much. Ankalaev is going to shoot some takedowns, get some control time. I think his boxing is good enough. I think Bogdan Guskov is going to be looking for that big shot, and this is a huge jump up in competition. Yes, you had to fight Jan Blachowicz, but you had a decision in that fight. How Jan Blachowicz is still doing that at like 40 billion years old is beyond me. Nikita Krylov is just not on the same level. It's just not. Billy Elikana, not on the same level. Magomed Ankalaev is a top 3 light heavyweight in this division right here and right now for a reason. I think Ankalaev has a fantastic showing in front of the home crowd, in front of his fans, and I think he's just going to look great. And I think he's really going to have a good chance at 50-45ing him. It's going to be a Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman type fight, except there's going to be takedowns in this one from Ankalaev because that's his game plan. I don't know, man. Most people are going Ankalaev. Some people are saying by knockout. I don't really see it. Ankalaev isn't exactly the guy who goes for knockouts, but at the same point, he has knockout power. He can do it. I just think recently he's really been a point fighter, and I think with Guskov, you're going to fight him like Alex Pereira. Just stay out of the power shots. Don't get into a bad spot, and you should be in a great situation to win this fight. I think Ankalaev gets this one done by decision. As always, appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what y'all think of this fight card. No, it's not the most exciting, but it is what it is. It's going to be decent. We'll see what happens. I'll be up for it. I know Tristan will be up for it. So pretty exciting. We've also got some fun news coming at the end of this week, so y'all stay tuned. Go check out the Instagram. Tristan's been posting a ton about this fight week on the Instagram, so go check it out. Give some of the posts a like. At least give us a follow so you won't miss out on any Cage Calculated content. Go follow us on Twitter. Tristan obviously runs the Twitter too. He's stupid funny. Go check it out, man. And go follow the TikTok if you want some shorter breakdowns on there as well. As always, appreciate y'all watching. See ya!